Yo, Chad the Dad.
What up?
Got my guy Pete Rock
Rock.
back. The official episode 1. Didn't think we were gonna release episode 0, but we did.
Yeah.
This week has been absolutely surreal with all of the feedback, all of the comments. I mean, we were talking about this before. We appreciate it so much. This is very hard for us. We don't know what we're doing. We've barely been talking on camera. We've barely been podcasting, but I mean, just the amount of people that have reached out in the last 2 to 3 days after seeing the first episode, which again, we never thought would see the light of day, has just been incredible. It's given us a lot of momentum. We definitely want to keep this rolling. We want to keep talking. We want to have these conversations. So welcome to the Fatherhood. We're officially here. Pete, how's the week going?
Man, it's going, buddy. It's kicking my ass. Gotta have a little Willie's here, a little second one to top it off. But it's been it's the same. Feels like the same thing like I talked about last week, kind of day in day out, but it's always different. Work starts off my week. I should have a couple loan days at the beginning of the week, but always, my girls are always reaching out to kind of have a daddy-daughter day. And so I entertained that on Monday night, watched the episode for the second time and the last time that I've watched it. So got some feedback from a friend in real time. And then just kind of carried on. Tuesday was another long day, it was a long day for me, but I did something that made me feel really good. Even though work was kind of piling up, I had already committed to taking the girls to gymnastics, and it's something I've had to switch around my schedule for. And man, just putting work aside for a couple hours, being patient, knowing that I'll get back to it, going and getting them, taking them to gymnastics, and only the littlest one to gymnastics. And then you got my middle one jumping all over me, full of energy. And a lot of people were probably looking at me like, man, she's got to be driving him nuts right now. But I loved it because it's a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things, and it meant the world for the girls to see me on a day they don't see me. So that means a lot. Sometimes you got to punch out, man. Sometimes you got to punch out and do something you might not necessarily want to do, or you really are trying to make it work. Shut everything off. Go do that thing. Be done with it. Pick up what you were doing before. And so, it's fun Tuesday. I love taking the girls to the extracurriculars. Then Wednesday rolled around, man, learned a big lesson, took the kids to the pool. And, I find myself teaching the same thing from my oldest to my middle. And then I have to teach that same exact thing from my middle to my youngest. And I'll touch on that a little bit, but it's been a good week, but still need to unwind a little bit. This is not alcohol, but yeah, how about you, man?
Man, I can't complain. Finally got back on the golf course. Those who have played with me know that, that's not always the prettiest sight, but hey, I walked away with a birdie, couple pars. We won't talk about the couple holes I picked up my ball, but just enough shots to want to get back out there. So I think I'm going to go back out there tomorrow because, I did get laid off. I got all kinds of free time right now. So, just trying to get outside, man. We, yesterday, me and two of my buddies, we call them dad walks. We meet up. We used to just talk about work stuff on the cell phone. I'd be pacing around the backyard. And so we were like, hey, why don't we meet up and walk around? And I just think that, when it comes to parenting and really just in life in general, just getting outside, getting that sunlight, especially in this day and age, a lot of us are remote workers. We're, sitting in front of chained to this desk and these cameras all day long. And, it doesn't take long. And me and my buddy Rob was like, hey, we just need an hour. We walk up and down my neighborhood. We'll rotate. I'll go to his neighborhood. I mean, next thing you know, you've walked 4 or 5 miles. You're about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You gotten some sunlight, you gotten some fresh air. And man, that just makes you feel so much better at the end of the day. So did that with yesterday, caught up with a couple of guys. It's just good too, just to kind of get you out of the house a little bit. So been doing that. Like you said, hit the course, hoping to get back out there tomorrow. But I'd agree with what you said when it comes to taking the kids. Like, my daughter goes to gymnastics middle of the afternoon, while she's been in preschool because, my son's not off kindergarten yet. So her last class was a couple weeks ago, and it's something I just don't really get a chance to go to because I'm always working at that time. And I was like, it's the last class. Like, I'm just going to take you over there. It sat there for an hour, no different than anything else. And man, just the look on her face, just because you sit up, you got the like kind of upstairs, and you're looking through the glass window, and she's down there giving the wave. I mean, man, that's just those type of moments are priceless. And like you said, just stop what you're doing every now and then. Go hang out with go do something that makes you special. That little bit of attention is all those kids need. And it reminded me, I was like, man, I wish this wasn't the last one, at least for now. I'm sure she'll do it again soon. We'll take a little break for the summertime with some trips coming up, but man, I can't agree more. So I think that's a great transition into getting into our dad vice of the week. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any specific thing you want to get into, Pete, or I know you
Yeah,
said,
man, I can definitely get into something.
what would be your dad vice of the week?
So to kind of piggyback on what I opened with a little bit about my day yesterday, kind of a quick appointment in the morning. Wednesdays are a short day for me. I only have one appointment. And so I reached out and I wanted to take the kids to the pool. Sun was out. So I reached out to the girl's mom, said, hey, the girls want to go to the pool, blah, blah, blah. I picked Pete up from football and went home, and I could tell something was bothering him. I can just tell, right? We can tell, especially when they're so similar to us, and they're at a time in their life when we almost remember being there. And so, whatever. I didn't really push him too hard. Wound up taking the kids to the pool, got everything ready. Just simple little trip to the pool, little 10-minute drive. We went out there. We were, probably the only ones there. There was like a camp finishing up, and getting in the pool. We're in the pool for 5 minutes. Kids are in the pool for 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna go sit on the other side of this pool, see if I can get some sun through this sweater here. So I go and I sit the end of the deep end. The kids are on the shallow end. See, my middle one wants to play rough a little bit with her big brother, so he doesn't really know, when to turn it off. She doesn't know when to stop pushing, and so him already being frustrated, her getting mad at them playing, really got to him. He's just kind of like huffing and puffing. He can't. And then I'm like, what is going on? And I'm just trying to hear what they say. And he's like, well, I was like, dude, it's all good. I feel like I know what you're going to say. Like, let me just kind of hear what she says. She's like, he's holding my head underwater and man, and all this stuff. And I'm like, I remember, I had to talk with Peter about no murdering his siblings. So I know that he wasn't holding your head underwater. But anyway, he gets frustrated. He's just like, I'm done with this, because whatever was lingering, still was there. He gets out of the pool and he's trying to explain himself. And I'm not being rude or anything like that. I'm just like, dude, all good. Just don't worry about it. Like, process it. And I went and sat in the shallow end, and ultimately, playing a game with the girls, and I'm looking over and I see him, and he's, I can see him kind of pounding the ground, and he doesn't have his phone in his hand, so I know he's just twirling thoughts in his head. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm just going to let him do this. Like, I'm going to give him space, because in the past, hey man, look, dude, hey, and I try to give a lesson in real time, be like, look, dude, she's little or whatever it is. But I just sat back and I watched him, and I watched him sulk a little bit, and it is what it is. Let him feel his feelings, man. Let him be pissed off a little bit. It's not like he's going and going to rage somewhere. So 15 minutes pass. I let him, just let him kind of sit there and sulk it up. And I get out of the pool and I go sit with him, and I've got my computer already set up on the table, and I sit down and I don't bring it up. I'm just hey, you good? You good? And he apologizes, and I'm like, bro, you're good. Like, we'll figure this out. Like, right now, just don't worry about it. And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, don't worry about it, even though I know he was worrying about it. But then at the same time, I then watch the same child who was crying wolf about their older sibling is doing the same exact thing that the older sibling is to the little tiny one that was just bouncing around in the shallow end, screaming off big words that rhyme, like motivation. She's just hopping around, motivation, And I'm like, strangulation. And so then that one's crying. Anyway, moral of the story is we get out, we get going, everybody's hungry, come home, you know, repeat goes and takes a shower. I start cooking burgers for everybody. And he comes downstairs and he sits on the couch and, he's like, Dad, I'm sorry. And again, I was like, hey, man, like, I think I said your apology. I'm not accepting your apology because you have nothing to apologize for. Like, you're good. And I think he gets the apologies from me because I apologize to my children when I feel like I may have acted out of line. And by the way, parents, if you are over or above apologizing to your children, you're doing it the wrong way. But when he's sitting there, knowing he's still got these thoughts rolling through his brain, I was like, hey man, you come empty the dishwasher? He's like, yeah, man, no problem. Dad. Hops up, does it. And I'm like, huh. And then we start talking in the kitchen, and we just conversation. We start picking at some of the things that were happening at the pool, and I had my time to gather my thoughts. We had a really productive conversation. Dinner happens. He's not quiet. He's chatty. He's this and that. And I think what I observed in my actions and kind of how I just let that situation go is I gave him space, man. Like, I didn't talk about it. I didn't try to teach a lesson. I didn't sit down and hold his hand and tell him it was okay. I let him feel whatever he was feeling. And when I did that, in the past, I probably would have still got a kid when I asked him to empty the dishwasher. I would have got a slow get up and a putz around into the kitchen. But when I gave him time to process it, maybe he thought some of those thoughts out loud. Like, give him space was the big thing for me because it allowed him to process his thoughts. I certainly know that for me, when I don't have time to process my thoughts, 75% of the things that are going to come out of my mouth, maybe I don't really mean. But sometimes we just need to let them out just to hear how ridiculous they are, right? And then we write them off. We got to get them out of the head, literally, physically, boom, gone. And so I kind of, I gave him that space. I let him process. And when you think about it, man, like, we as adults have a ton of thoughts in our head, right? These teenagers, man, their brains are firing so much faster than ours are right now. They have so many other thoughts, right? And if they can't process those, they're going to come out some way. So you got to let your kid let their thoughts out, and you can't crush them for them. But B, give them space, man. Let them process. And I know, again, like, I say this stuff, and this might not work in every situation, but it worked for me yesterday. And it's something that I noticed. And I told him about it today. And I talked to him about it today. I was like, hey man, like, tell me if you think this makes sense. And I kind of ran through the whole situation again. And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, so I think a big thing here is, don't try to jump in and if you're like me, teach, I'll gently teach a lesson, or sometimes sternly teach a lesson. But a lot of times it's like, hey man, you're learning, right? You're learning life, right? So don't be too hard on yourself, but let it go. Make sure they know you're aware, but just let it go. Let them process your thoughts the same way we need to process our thoughts, So I think that's a big thing that really got me yesterday. And again, it might not work in every situation or for every child, or, for whatever. But with my teenager yesterday, I let him be a little pissed off. He may have thought that I was taking her side, but I didn't give him a hard time about anything. I just told him that, hey, don't worry about it. Just let's keep moving on. And I let him be with his own thoughts. And when he processed them on his own, it didn't ruin his day, right? Like, it took me 40 years to not let something ruin my day for the whole day. Mm-hmm. But like with him, he just, and he was back at it. Chatty Cathy at dinner, and so that's something I took away from yesterday, man. There's no shortage of things to learn every day from your actions and your children's actions. So.
No, love the dad advice. I think that's great. I think I could, kind of expand on that a little bit on my own situation. So, obviously I don't have a teenager yet. I haven't got into those different feelings. So we're in kind of different stages, well, to a certain extent. But, I think regulating emotions is one of the biggest things that I'm working on with my son specifically. Obviously he just finished kindergarten and, he's starting to catch a lot of big feelings here and there. And sometimes I'll get frustrated. Hey, what's going on, buddy? I don't know what's going on. Like, he genuinely doesn't know. And, to your point, there's a lot of parents I see, and I'm not saying anyone's doing it right or wrong, because again, we're not perfect at what we do, but we want to share the things that do work for us, and kind of
Right.
share those best practices. But just being able to talk to him, like, okay, first thing, let's take a deep breath. Let's think about why you're upset, and again, just not being all in him and just letting him kind of regulate those emotions on his own. Because I mean, he's six, 6.5 at this point, and there's still a lot of times they just don't know. And like you said, it's we're all guilty of it as adults as well. Um, just trying to regulate those emotions. Oh, I had a bad day at work, and like it's just letting that whole moment ruin your whole day. Like there's 24 hours in the day. I mean, I can't do the math on how many minutes that is, but the point is, like, if you let that 1 minute ruin your day, like if you lost $1 out of your bank account, you probably wouldn't even notice. But on a daily basis, you let that 1 minute literally ruin your day. So, like I said, it's something that even at almost 45 years old, I'm trying to do as well. But I've definitely noticed it with my son, and just let him, hey, we even talked about it. Hey, you need to work on regulating your emotions, and he doesn't know what that means, but it's like, take a deep breath, you know, sit down, think about
Huge.
it. If you need to talk to me, I'm here, but I'm kind of like you, like, hey, let's talk, let's take a deep breath, let's just maybe walk away for a minute, and let them kind of figure it out. I mean, that's the only way they're going to do it. And I mean, if we're, again, goal of us to try to raise good humans, and that's part of it, of
Yeah.
understanding, because I've seen grown men, even on the golf course, using that as an example, because I was just out there throwing pincher tantrum. Oh my gosh, I can't,
Oh my God.
bad drive or hit one in the woods. Like, who cares, man? Like, I don't get on the golf course enough to be mad at a golf shot. That's the least of my worries over the course of a week or a day. So I think, again, slowing down, taking a deep breath, teaching that to your children, I think it's just vital. And I know we got a lot of new dads listening. I've had some new dads that really appreciated the first episode. So I mean, that was something I would think of as you continue to raise your child. Like you said, sometimes you just have to step away. You can't, you might want to get to the bottom of what's going on, like you were doing with repeat, but sometimes just stepping away and letting them have time to have their thoughts, and then being there if they want to talk about it. If they want to talk about it, perfect, let's do it. And if they don't, then you know that's fine as
Yeah.
well. I'm here, and I try to say that all the time to my son, like, I'm here, I love you, you let me know. And I just want them, or both my children, but I want them to be able to come to me when there's real problems, because this is a crazy world we live in, and there's going to be real problems. And if you can build that trust, I guess you could say, early on, of being there, I'm going to always be here, and come to you. And I think there's so many parents that, like, their kids are scared to go talk to their parents. I've seen it firsthand, and I just want to make sure to avoid that. So that would be kind of following up on you, but kind of the dad advice of the week is just slow down, be there for them. But sometimes
Give
you
them a
got
little
to kind of walk
space.
away.
And that is like, and these are all like pieces that get put together, right? You're not going to teach them, go walk away and go think about your feelings dude. The first thing I would teach Pete about this stuff is like, yo, get up, go away, walk away, because if you stay in that situation, you're going to get continue riled up, you're not going to be able to keep your mouth shut. And looking back on it, he did exactly what I have been teaching him. He knew that he wasn't that situation was frustrating him. He knew he wasn't going to win whatever, like win, but he got up and he walked away. And then the second piece is like, wow, okay. And then me talking about it today, like he was like, oh yeah, okay. All right, Dad, see what you're doing. But yeah, man. And you made another point, like kids are, if your children are afraid to talk to you, man, that's another thing you gotta fucking look in the mirror. Like, you gotta remember that these kids, dude, their brain is developing. Our brain is regressing, right? I mean, it's not regressing in a sense, but it's not growing anymore. I mean, we still have places to put new information, but we're not creating new folds and stuff in our head, but they are, and they're seeing everything and they're absorbing everything and they're trying to sift through it all. Those are going to come out. And when I let Pete, like, Pete, dude, there's nothing you can tell me that I'm going to be like, that I'm going to get mad at. If you say something and I need to reframe the way you're thinking, that's one thing, but I can't get mad at you. You don't know until I teach you. And so, uh, when if you do, if your kids are scared to come talk to you because whatever thought they have is wrong, or you don't want to hear it, you've got to just hear them out. You'll get to know your kids better. You never know what you're going to pick up when you hear what they say. You might be like, where'd you get that? Or like, or you might fucking crack up, like, but I think it's so important to let, specifically speaking to like parents of teenagers, like let them talk to you, like, let them tell you their irrational thoughts, and you can laugh them off. You have the opportunity to kind of reframe it. But those thoughts need to get out the same way our thoughts need to get out. That's why we see therapists, right? Anybody that's got the balls too, but that's why we do it, right? So I think it's big to just kind of let your kid listen to your kid talk, man. Like stop running your mouth, let them go, and you never know. But yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, I mean, I think
What
that's
we
good
got?
advice. Let's flip it over to one of our favorite topics here is just get into the real talk.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
let's talk about feelings, stress, friendship, relationships. I mean, like I said, I feel like this is something that, when we started this whole conversation, what we want to do, we just feel like this doesn't happen enough with men to be able to
Yeah.
kind of express that, and it's hard. And honestly, when we posted episode 0, it was one of the funnest slash most terrifying 10 minutes of my life because I was like, man, we opened up. I mean, people didn't even know I'd been laid off. Like I was just we put a lot out there, and it was like I said, we thought we were just a test episode, just a conversation between a couple boys.
Yeah.
Love the real talk. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you got anything specific you want to jump in on this, but I mean, we normally kind of
Yes.
start off with, is there anything kind of stressing, kind of overwhelming, kind of sitting on your brain that you want to get out there, or?
Yeah. God, what was I going to say here? Um, you said something just a second ago, and I was like, "Bleh," and then it slipped my mind. But there are certainly things that always there's always stuff to talk about, man. And if I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head right now, is it's probably I get frustrated. I still vape, right? And it's depressing, man, because I've been trying for years to quit, and I don't necessarily hide it. I'm not proud of it, and I'm not blowing smoke rings in my kid's face like, check this out, baby. But I don't. I hide it in a sense to where like I'll go in the garage and do it. Um, and one thing that I've learned is, I'm not trying to hide it, and I'm being open about my struggle with trying to quit. And I guess this is coming up today because, I told myself 2 months ago, man, I was like, this is the last one I'm going to buy because all I want to do is be done with it. And, but if there's one silver lining that I'm taking from this struggle that I'm having, it's that I feel real confident that, the one I should be most worried about, the one who has the most peer pressure right now is Repeat. And he wants nothing to do with it because not only has he learned all about the bad stuff, but like I talk to him in a way like, you see this, dude? This is why you don't want to do it, man. Because I want to be done with it and I can't be done with it. Like I want nothing but to be a good example for you, man. And I just don't want to do this. But at the same time, you're watching how much I'm struggling with it and what it's doing to me. Because it's something I want, right? And so uh, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there that are, vaping or even drinking, like any sort of thing. And I think, you got to be careful with what you're open about. I don't know, obviously, but when it comes to something like this, when it comes to something like Pete is, he's going to high school. Kids are already selling this crap in schools, and so because I've been open with my struggle with trying to be done with it. It has turned him off. And so, hey, silver lining, man. I would say don't hide things from your kids. If you're having a hard time with something, your kids are going to feel honored that especially when they're a little bit older. They're going to be like, wow, like my dad just confided in me about something that he's really having a hard time with. Like that's what I do to him. And so it means when you talk to your kids, you see those billboards. They're like most alcohol is consumed in your home. Like I remember sucking down peach schnapps going, back in the day, filling the Absolute bottles back with water. But just be open. Be open with your kids, man. Like I haven't really hid anything from Pete, like nothing. Ask me a question, nothing. And but I have been honest with my struggles with it and my experiences with these things, and I tend to stress on the bad ones, right? And because the bad ones are infinitely worse than any sort of pleasure you get out of any of it. So, so yeah, I think that's the one thing that's been bugging me today is like, God dang it, I bought another freaking. So
Yeah, no,
anyway,
I think you make a good point, and I think for us, and again, I know we've talked about this a lot, is just we want our children to be better versions of us. We want to, take the good things from us, don't do the bad things. And it actually
yep,
brings up another journey that we're actually both on. And I would think it was probably shocking to most of the people listening and most of the people that have known us from 15 years is that neither one of us really drink alcohol anymore. And I know
what?
exactly, which I know is catching a lot of people off guard. And there's probably some people listening like, what? Like, and I'm not saying, I know you've been on that journey a little longer than myself. And, I really got this year and last year, I really was, take a look in the mirror. I was like, man, I am, when you're parenting, it's easy to drink a lot. I mean, there's a lot of, they say the years go by fast, but the days are long. And man, it couldn't be more true. And I was catching myself, early on, especially the early COVID days, having two babies, I would turn around and be like, man, we drank a couple handles of liquor this week. Like, just, it wasn't like we were just hammered walking around. It was just more of a constant, like having Tito's and lemonade or, sitting by the pool. So I agree with you 100%. And I don't want my kids to grow up. And I know something I truly believe in 20 years from now, we'll look at alcohol the same way we look at cigarettes now. When I grew up,
Yeah,
everybody smoked cigarettes in the 80s, early 90s. I mean, I'm talking everyone. And inside, you'd go to a party with your parents and 50 people are smoking cigarettes. Kids are in there just breathing it in. Obviously, as years went by, you kind of learn the effects. I truly believe with alcohol, we're going to be in that same boat. Um, and it's like I said, I don't have anything against it. I'm actually not feeling great today because I went and had dinner with a good friend of mine. Haven't seen him in many years. We had a couple margaritas with dinner last night, and I was like, oh, I love margarita. Let me just sip one. And boy, I feel terrible today. I mean, I
yeah,
still feel it. It's 8 o'clock at night. I had maybe 3 drinks. We used to go downtown and maybe have 30 drinks in the night. So, um, but I think becoming a dad, there's something that there's a switch that just flips, in my opinion, that you just want to be healthier, you want to be better, you want to be a better role model. And again, I don't have anything wrong with anyone drinking. I'm not even saying I don't, like I said, I had a couple margaritas with dinner. I'm not like beating myself up over it, even though I woke up feeling a little rough. But I think it's just, again, going to your vape store, just setting the right role model. Like, I want them to be that. Like, if they want to drink, I'm not going to say, hey, don't drink when they get older, but I want them to kind of understand it. And I don't want to set that precedent of like, hey, because my biggest problem with cutting back and stopping drinking completely is it is so ingrained in every part of my life, from going to the game, sitting down, going to the pool. Like, I just almost like I have to have something in my hand. So, I know we've kind of gone through some THC seltzers, which you just poured yourself one. And, that helps kind of take the edge off every now and then. But,
really.
yeah, I ultimately just got tired of wasting my days. And I had someone tell me that many years ago, back when we were drinking every day. And I just like, what, how does someone not drink? Like, that's so crazy. Like, everything I do revolves around drinking. And sure enough, he was just like, yeah, I started wasting days, but it makes so much sense because not only are you kind of losing the day when you have a nice catch buzz, but you're feeling like terrible the next day. You're laying on the couch. You don't want to spend time with your kids. And I've lost almost 20 pounds, and then I'm not even really working out or exercising, to be quite honest. It's strictly not drinking alcohol. Um, and like I
Yeah,
said, I just want to feel better because I want to be more present in the moment for my children. And I want to spend more time with them now because, like, we've talked about this a lot. It just goes by so fast. Everyone, when I had a kid, was like, I used to get annoyed. That was my wife. Like, I am so annoyed. I do not want one more person to tell me how fast it goes. And here I am with a 5-year-old and a 6.5-year-old, and man, does it go fast. So
yeah.
I just want to enjoy the ride as much as I can. And alcohol was not allowing me to do that. As
I don't
much.
know how people do it. I mean, yes, coming close to 6 years sober, and I don't know, just because when you put it in, it takes time for it to come out, And before it ever really gets out of your system, you're putting it back in. So you're in this cycle. Um, and when Pete was young, I mean, when Pete was young, man, I drank all the time. I was still a bartender, you know. It wasn't until my middle one got here, and even then, it took a year for me to stop. And I stopped at the beginning of COVID because I just had this anxiety riddled trip and drank like a fish. I was drinking like 30 Trulies, you know, like, and then the kids went to Jersey and I came back home, drank all weekend. And then that Monday I was like, oh, I'm not drinking today. And I know everybody says one day at a time. Give it that first day, give it a few days because it's going to take a second. But I'm telling you, like, I don't know how you're doing it. If you are boozing, and again, nothing against it. I was a bartender for 15 years. But yeah, you're talking about the thinking. How am I going to go to the beach? Like, how am I going to hang out with my boys? How am I going to watch football without a drink? You know, like those are the biggest worries that I had. Like, I didn't know how I was going to hang out with my friends. I didn't know how I was going to go to the beach. How am I going to watch a Giants game on TV at home without sucking them down? You know, like, but then you start, you know, like you start to get this next level of thinking. Like, I remember going to the beach and I'm having the most fun I've ever had at the beach after having 20 years of going hard at the beach. The most fun I ever had was sober with my little kids on the sand. You know, like, then when you have a moment like that and you realize it, you know, your thinking starts to change. Like, wow, that was great. Like, I wonder what going to a game live would be like, watching the whole thing and remembering leaving. You know, like, that would be bananas. Let's give it a whirl. And you know, to each their own. But I'm telling you, from a personal standpoint, from, you know, dude who partied harder than probably anybody you've met, you know, I don't know how you do it. And it's hard enough. Like, it's hard enough. You know, I have my kids a lot, but it's hard enough without booze. I just couldn't imagine what kind of person I would be with it. And yeah, the shedding pounds is a pretty good thing too.
Yeah, you look great, man.
I don't have that other chin.
Yeah, man, you look great.
Buck 83, man.
You know, but you were quietly a little bit of my motivation as well. I mean, everyone
really.
Knows, I mean, I've been a little overweight there for a while, and, you know, I like to eat well. We eat well at my house, and you know, when we finally reconnected a year or two ago, and just seeing how healthy you looked, it really was eye opening. I was like, I want to do that, you know. And like I said, just I could count on one hand how many drinks I've had in the year 2026, and like I said, literally lost 20 pounds. I'm the lightest I've been in over a decade, and I do really truly thank you for that. And you didn't even know that. You didn't like.
Wow. Yeah.
You didn't get my ear. It was just hanging out with you and seeing your journey and being like, I want to do that. And then, like I said, the clarity I've had since then, and being able to really spend more time and be more present with my children on top of the health benefits. It's just, like I said, it's something I don't think I'll ever go back to. You know, at least full time. Yeah, I'm going to have dinner. You know, unfortunately, in the corporate world, you know, you go to a meeting, you kind of have to have a drink in the hand, unfortunately, at times. But like I said, it's I do thank you for helping me kind of see that light. And
wow.
Like I said, it's just curious how this, you know, continues to turn out and see how this unfolds.
Yeah.
So
I could keep going on that all day. And
we'll touch on.
We're just gonna keep shooting. Yeah, we've got a long time.
So let's like I said, we always start the show with the dad advice. We get into a little bit of real talk for those new to the show, which is basically everybody, unless you watched episode 0, which is streaming now. Go check us out on our YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe to that. We'd love to have you guys as part of this journey, and who knows how long this will keep going, but, you know, we don't plan on stopping, because I think we both have a vision for this, and this is just the very early stages. We're going to make mistakes. We're still trying to figure this out, but we're always start the show kind of really getting in the feelings, and then we kind of wrap it up on a little more high note. We're going to get into a little bit of our sports talk, talk about some, you know, what's trending, some highlights. I think those are kind of intertwined with kind of the topics I had today, but we'll jump into the sports corner. Obviously sponsored by my family business, Raleighwood Hobby Family. Come check us out on eBay. Doing a lot of fun things. Like I said, that's just been so much fun with my wife, my kids. We're headed out to the card show this week in Raleigh. For anyone around, you know, go check that out at the fairgrounds. one of the biggest shows of the year, hosted by the folks down at Oak City Sports Cards, good friends of the program as well. So going out there, and it's just been a blast to really get in that card. And I mean, when we talk Sports Corner, I know that we're kind of in the heat of the summer. We really talked about World Cup fever last year or so, but I think as we evolve with the program, we want to get into some fantasy. Pete and I have been in the same fantasy football league for over a decade now. Shout out Raleighwood fantasy football. But we want to get into that. We want to talk about a lot of different things. I know it's just kind of breaking the counter outside of World Cup. Still got some games on in the background I'm kind of keeping an eye on, but we're moving on to the knockout stage. And like I said, just excited about kind of where we're going to go with that, and not as much sports to talk about now, but as I did last week, Pete, or you got something to say real quick?
I got something. There is something that did catch me. Starting to see a lot of advertisements for women's softball, professional women's softball. Did you see that?
I have.
Dude, I dig it, man. I dig it. I mean, I love that's happening. I love that, women are getting an opportunity to play on a level like that. That's very, very cool. As a father of a little softball player who really is starting to love it. I had a little baseball player. He doesn't want to play baseball anymore. He wants to play football. But I was a baseball player. My middle child, man, she really turned it on this year. And I just think it's really cool to see the women's softball thing pick up. We just went to state championship for one of my really good friends. His daughter is a sophomore at the high school that just played in the state championship out here. We drove out to Greensboro. That was such a cool experience. Girls loved it. But yeah, hey man, I think it's cool. I just wanted to give it a shout out, man. Carolina Blaze, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I just found out about the Carolina Blaze 2 days ago. Shout out to my buddy Mike, who offered me some tickets. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it on Saturday, but I did not know the Carolina Blaze existed. But I have learned since then that they are one of the 4 original teams of the AUSL, which is Athletes Unlimited Softball League, based in Durham, North Carolina. Here, I had no idea. So,
where are the other teams?
That's a great question. Let's check their schedule out. It looks like they play the Cascade, the Volts, and the Bandits. And I don't know where any of these teams are located, but I can click into a couple of these here.
I'm a Blaze guy, straight up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Carolina Blaze.
Carolina Blaze for life for me.
But no, I agree, and it's funny because growing up, I'll admit it, probably shouldn't say this out loud, but never been a huge women's sports. But when the second I became a girl dad, and I know, again, you being a girl dad as well, it's amazing how much you start catching on. Like, okay, maybe I'll throw this WNBA game on. And it's just, like I said, it's been awesome just to see, I think, women's sports in general, just kind of, Caitlin Clark, a lot of these folks to just bring it to, and making it, people tuning in. So,
love it.
Yeah, I have to check out the Carolina Blaze. Not this weekend, but yeah, that was pretty cool. So, the other thing, dude, I wanted to feature. I always like to feature one card we have up for sale on eBay right now on Raleighwood Hobby Family.
All right, I'm gonna be closer on this one.
Okay, well, I did this especially for you today, and I purposely did this because this is the hottest name in the entire sports card market. It is not even close. It is something that those who have been in this industry and hobby for years literally cannot pour words around over this guy's stock. And so I brought one. I've actually, unfortunately, sold some of my higher end ones. So not as crazy as last time, but I wanted to show you this guy from your team. Do you know who that is?
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, yeah. So this is not my most expensive even Ohtani card, but I just love this card. As you may remember, Pete, this is the 1989 Topps design. So they went old school Topps. So this
I can tell.
I absolutely love this card because it kind of brought back what we grew up with in that 1989 design. Obviously, this is a PSA 10 as well. These have been floating around $275 for the PSA 10, which again is the highest grade you can get from the Professional Sports Authority, other known as PSA, across the industry. got this listed out there. Like you said, you know how I like to do it. I listed a little bit higher than the comps, let people make me some offers. So I got that listed for 350 right now on eBay. If anybody wants to go take that look, make me an offer. One of my favorite cards, and honestly, I don't know if I want to get rid of this. Not that again, it's the highest end card, but the Otani market's crazy, man. I don't know if
Is it
you've
really?
seen what's going on. I mean, it is insane. For example, I had a base card of his rookie. It was about $150 card in November. I sold it for about 600 bucks recently, and I just looked yesterday, and they're selling for 750. There's 14,000 of those in existence on PSA 10, and that's just
Wow.
one example. He is the hottest card. He has really brought the hobby to Japan and overseas. And I just think you're just seeing this money pour into it. But I mean, the amount of gains you've seen from Otani, just unbelievable. I mean, he is the greatest
He's
baseball
the guy
player
you create.
we'll ever see. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that in my lifetime. And you being a Dodgers fan, I mean, what do you think about Otani? I mean, it's
I
amazing,
mean,
right?
I love it, dude. But I've got my best friend, my brother Scott, chirping in my ear all the time about Dodgers being the problem with baseball. He's a big Braves fan, but love him no matter what. But yeah, watching he's a freak. He's the guy you create in the the video games.
Yep.
Last night he actually had a pretty. He went into the game 7-2 with a 1.42 ERA or something like that. New catcher, our catcher's out. Our all-star Will Smith is out, so we got this backup catcher in there, and there were some not some things weren't working, and the catcher was calling the game. Well, anyway, after a challenge on a strike, Shohei said, I'm pitching, I'm throwing whatever I want. So he called all the pitches for the rest of the game and was lights out. So it's just like, and that's the next level stuff that nobody's going to know. Like, yeah, he's nasty, but like, okay, like things weren't working. And he was like, let me show you how to do it. Called all the pitches and got the W. Big win. Yeah. So it's pretty, he's a freak, dude. He's the guy you create. Chad Mazzeros, triple play 96, and he's a pitcher, and he's got 99 power and 99 contact.
He really does. I mean, he had a trip to Pittsburgh about 2 weeks ago to play my Pirates. Obviously, must watch TV anytime this guy's on the field. But I mean, I think he hit at least 2 home runs. But the one, I mean, it looked like a check swing, and he hit over the fence, home run, and it's incredible. Like you said, you were talking about his pitching. I mean, we've never seen anyone pitch and hit the way he does. And I mean, the guy is just an absolute cheat code. I don't know if we'll ever see another player like him. And he's just still in the prime of his career. I mean, we still got years of this guy. And that's just, I am probably on the fence with your brothers and others about the Dodgers and their payroll, especially being a Pirates fan. But man, watching Otani play baseball would be something that I'll tune into every time that guy's on the mound, every time he's at the plate. And like I said, if you go, anyone pops into one of these sports card shows or goes to these events, it's all people are looking for. It's all they're talking about. And a card, you could buy a card 2 weeks ago, and I guarantee you'll make $100 in 2 weeks from now. I don't know when this thing's going to stop. I mean, it like anything, I look at the sports card market as similar to like a stock market. I mean, you're going to have up and up. I mean, he's been like straight up. I mean, for weeks, months. Everyone's talking about, it's going to come to an end at some point, but I don't see it stopping. And I do think with the amount of international money coming into the hobby, I truly don't know if it's going to stop. So I've been buying his cards and selling them 2 weeks later for a couple $100 a piece. But that's man, crazy. Just an unbelievable story. He is. And he's just completely changing the market. I mean, I would say the other hot names, I mean, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, obviously making some comebacks as far as people getting their cards, but Otani, it's like nothing anyone's ever seen. So
that's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, sports great. Obviously, we got USA finishing up their group play. Obviously, meaningless game in the World Cup.
Who are they playing tonight, Chad?
So tonight they play Turkey. It's not Turkey anymore. It's Turkey.
You know why?
How it's pronounced. Please tell me. I do not.
It is because Turkey. They used to go by Turkey. They're no longer going by Turkey because they want to steer away from the North American way that we use the word Turkey as almost like a failure. So they don't want to be called Turkey anymore. So it's Turkey. It's more back to the historical, closer to the native Forgive me if I'm not using the right terminology right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to the Istanbul was Constantinople. You know what I'm saying? And so Turkey, yeah, they did not want to be Turkey just in time for the World Cup, and I don't blame them. Yeah. But anyway, that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'd like to see the USA, and even in a meaningless game, get their 9 points. Obviously, already setting up next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, to play against Bosnia Herzegovina in the knockout round. Granted, it is a 32-team tournament when you get to the knockout round, but man, that's going to be a USA massive favorites to move on. Not that that's a complete rollover game. They got a couple guys in the Premier League, I believe, on Bosnia. So obviously, we'll have to play the A game, but you got to think. Actually, was offered last night potential free ticket to that game, but it is in Santa Clara, California. That ticket, I bet, would be selling on the resale market for probably close to 9 to 10 grand. But man, getting to San Francisco and back, and then heading down to our family vacation, I just don't think I got it in me. I'm gonna probably regret this for a long time, but never say never. So if we are there, it would be amazing. But like I said, looking unlikely either way. Would love to see the USA. I think for me, coming in this tournament on home field, I always thought it's kind of quarterfinals or bust, making the final 8. So that would be win at least a couple in the knockout round, and then give yourself a chance. And like I said, World Cup fever is upon us. I think that actually is a great segue into our segment we didn't get into, but I already had something I really wanted to talk about and see if you're aware of what's going on lately. So our next segment is what's trending, viral stories.
What is trending? Let's see what's trending.
So what's trending right now is the World Cup and these other fans or fanatics, they might call them, or maybe even hooligans in some cases, taking over the United States. Have you been seeing any of these moments? And just to name a few, for example, we have Norway fans in Times Square while people are trying to do yoga, and they're standing there doing their yoga, doing their Viking clap behind them. They're taking over MLB games in the middle of the day with their chants. We've had, so many examples, and we'll get to what's trending. Hopefully, in the future, have some videos to kind of show you in real time. But man, it has been incredible to watch. Just these Europeans trying American food. I saw a family. This was one of my favorites. A family of 7. And the caption said, "We didn't understand American portion size." Well, they ordered pizza for the first time, and they ordered 7 of them. So there's pictures of these 3 4-year-old kids that have a full large pizza. They got 7 large pizzas. They didn't realize that was something you kind of share. Just so many stories like that. I know I'm missing a ton. I saw the
ranch dressing. I heard.
Yep.
Heard ranch was a big thing.
I saw one guy, it was one of, what country was for him? He's been one of the more viral gentlemen, but he was trying biscuits and gravy for the first time and absolutely just loving it. I've seen other, some Koreans, obviously they've been down in Mexico, but I think there was some Koreans down in Texas trying barbecue for the first time. And awesome. It's just been so much fun to watch. And I think my takeaway from that, with the what's trending segment is it just shows you the world's not that bad of a place. It's just when you turn the TV off and you're not watching the news and you're not doom scrolling social media, we're all so much more alike, man. We all just want to have a good time. And I think I saw a caption that said, the World Cup's like when you get to hang out with your cousins, even though your parents hate each other.
Yeah.
Feels with the way, kind of politics.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Have you seen any of these viral World Cup moments yet, Pete?
No, but my friend did tell me about a few of them. She told me that there was one guy who was going around, he was like hitting Bojangles and like every fast food joint for different meal every time. And he was just loving it. And I wish I had TikTok to go on there and look at it, but I don't. And but yeah, no, I think it's great, man. Come over, experience the culture that we probably took from you. But come try the American food. It's awesome to see people that comfortable in a country at this time in our history. In this country at this time in our history, it's cool, and I love it, dude. Seeing everybody. they're doing the row up the escalators, and they're in the buses and the trolleys, and they're just like,
Mhm.
doing all these things. I love it,
It's
man.
been
I mean,
amazing. And I mean, shout out
it's nice.
to
It's a
the
nice break
Scottish
from.
fans. Yeah, Scotland took over Boston. I've now seen that Robert Kraft from the Patriots wants to have a Patriots game in Scotland now because I don't know if you're aware of this. The Scotland fans obviously took over Boston for a few days. Looked like they were having the absolute time of their life. I've never seen anything like it. I would like to hang out with some Scottish folks myself after seeing some of the video footage. But they also, what they did was raised money for charity. I think they raised over $30,000 to go to local food banks in the area after they left. And then I think they took it to Miami, I believe, yesterday for the Brazil game. So, I mean, it's just been incredible. I've seen other English guys renting big pickup trucks and like just living the American dream. So, I mean, as far as
Yeah,
what's trending, I cannot stop watching these videos. I've seen thousands of them. I've seen the Columbia folks were in Philadelphia. They climbed on the Rocky statue, put on the Columbia jersey. They were all dancing around outside
that's
Rocky
cool.
statue with the Columbia jersey on. I'm
I
looking
love
at
it.
some other the side, man. It's, uh, I mean, the Haitian fans having a whole parade in Boston. I mean,
That's
it's
cool.
been so awesome. Yeah, the Scotland fans took over Fenway Park at the game. That's the one I was thinking about, where they were just doing their whole chants, the whole baseball game. Had nothing to do with the actual baseball game, but they were just singing, dancing, and man,
They're here to
that's
live.
oh yeah, it's been incredible to watch. If you haven't seen the viral videos, I mean, unless you're Pete Rock, you've probably seen them. I mean, they're everywhere, but it is,
I forgot my
like I said,
keys.
it's been incredible to see, and I love being able to realize that we get a bad rap sometimes in the USA, and I think a lot of people were probably hesitant to even come to this country, which is understandable, but being able to see how much love is being shared of people of all nationalities, honestly incredible. I'm so happy, again, my kids have gotten into the World Cup because I've been sharing these videos with them and showing them. We actually, me and my two children have also been practiced our Norway Viking ship row routine. So we've been doing it in the couch. Kids love it. We've been into it. And like I said, just learning these traditions from other countries is really cool. And something that's always, I've been a big soccer guy my whole life. I don't watch a lot of Premier League, but when it comes to international soccer, it's just something that I can't get enough of. I mean, from the chants to the songs to the celebrations, I mean, just incredible. Love seeing people, kind of take over the country and just, seeing the best side of the USA. Because I think, again, if you turn the TV off sometimes and just walk outside, you realize this world's not a bad place, man. There's a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be grateful for. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's what's trending. I can't stop watching those videos um,
yeah.
at all, man. But it's been awesome. Um, so I mean, with that, Pete, I mean, I kind of want to get wrapped up. I mean, I think we're coming up about where we were last time. We're about 50 minutes
Hmm.
in or so. But I'd say,
It's just, I just want to say something, man. This is the
yeah,
second time you said get outside, right? Get out, get some sun. Just going to share a little scientific fact with you. 10 minutes of vitamin D, sunshine, before you turn on your screen. Give it a try. See how your day goes. Scientific fact. And I got nothing else to do but put these things into action. And I've done it. Give it a whirl. 10 minutes in the sun before you turn your farting phone on. Do it.
absolutely. So I guess, Pete, before we sign off, what's one thing you're thankful for this week?
Uh, I am thankful. I am thankful for the support. Um, a lot of people have reached out to me. It has been, I don't want to say overwhelming. It's been a little like nerve wracking, like, oh my gosh, like people are hearing me talk, hearing what I have to say. And, I've been kind of locked away for a while. And I am very grateful for all the people that have reached out. I'm thankful for the people that have commented. So my boy Kyle, he's a new dad of two. He put a comment on our thing and said something like, "Hey man, I always think about what Pete would do." And I'm just like, dude, like I love that, man, and that's kind of why we're here. It's to try and touch people, trying to make people laugh, and try to take parenting maybe not so seriously. Obviously it's a serious job, but have fun with it. And but I'd say this week I'm thankful for everybody that's reached out, everybody that's watching, everybody that watched this one. So grateful. Really means a lot. And just as every day goes, just grateful to be here. Thankful for today, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of touched on that at the beginning of the show as well, but I'd reiterate everything you said, man. It's the outpouring of love. And like I said, hasn't been the easiest time for either one of us lately. And just seeing how many people not only are excited about the show, but just, hey, we can't wait to watch the next one. Again, my cousin-in-law, Tyler, shout out to him. I kind of referenced him earlier, but brand new dad reached out. Hey, man, I'm a new dad. Been a dad very recently. So he's like, love just hearing what your guys' perspective. You guys have been that. And it just, I think we said this when we started. That's the ultimate goal. We're not perfect at what we do, but I do think we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we want to share that with the world. And like I said, if we can help one person just, maybe, think about something a little differently, shine a little light on something, or even if we just give you that escape for an hour every week and let you just kind of sit down and listen to us ramble on the microphones, we do appreciate it all. Like I said, we would love to, love for you to like and subscribe. I know that is kind of the cheesy thing, but it really
can I say it?
And
can I say it? Because I've never said it seriously. Please like and subscribe.
I love that. I love that. And then something else we want to do is, it's going across the bottom, but leave us a comment. Tell us what you're doing with as a dad. We want to make this community. We are eventually, the goal is to make this a live program where we are talking live. And when we do that, we're going to be able to get your comments in real time and put those up on the screen and react to them. So that's, we're going to get there. We want to take baby steps with this, but in the meantime, please leave us a comment. Tell us what you're dealing with. Tell us some topics you want us to cover. That gives us some things to think about as well. Like I said, I know we have enough to talk about to probably last us to about 100,000 episodes, but we want to hear what you guys are talking about. So please do leave us a comment. Let us know what you're dealing with. Let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about. We'd love to talk about it. We want to keep this going. We want to make this as interactive as possible. This is not Chad and Pete talking in the mic. This is a community. We really believe fatherhood has the chance to become something so much bigger than all of us. And that's the ultimate goal. So please, absolutely let us know if there's anything that we can cover. We're looking forward to do this. We want to make this a weekly thing. I mean, who knows if it catches on, maybe we do it more often, but that's just kind of where we're at. And we just love the comments. I mean, like I said, I saw Kyle and some others made comments. Apologize, I don't have the others off the top of my head. But we really do appreciate that. We do see it. I mean, we don't know what we're doing, but we see these comments coming through. We see the comments on Facebook. We see it all. So again, with that being said, I think like I said, we'll sign off for today, Pete. But I mean, again, I'm just grateful to have a voice to be able to talk to. It still am so surprised on how many people want to hear us talk. So I love it. Looking forward to keeping this thing rolling. And like I said, I think, hopefully this one's, each one, if we can get it, every episode being a little better than the last one, I think that's our goal. So
that's the goal every day, man.
Yep. Nope. We appreciate it as always. And we'll talk to everyone again soon. So thank you, Pete. Thank you everyone for listening. And till next time.
I love.